Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm just going to touch a little bit on postpartum, so let's get into it. So postpartum affects 1 in 7 women. Now, postpartum is real. It's something that a lot of people don't talk about, and honestly, it's a little hard for me to talk about it just because not everybody's the same, and postpartum doesn't hit people the same either. And what I want to talk about is firearms in the home while you're going through your postpartum depression phase, if you are. I just want everyone to be safe. Now, suicide is the #1 cause of depression, so this is why I wanted to touch base on it just a little bit. Lock up your firearms. So if you know someone who is super depressed, reach out and see if they need you to keep their firearms, or even if you are just going through postpartum depression, reach out to friends and family members to see if they can hold on to your firearms while you're going through this phase. Okay, so just lock up your firearms, keep them safe, make sure they're not readily accessible for you to use. Now, if you are going through postpartum depression, if you're not, just realize like if there's firearms in the home and you have your kid, right, you need to just make sure that little hands can't get to your firearms. So make sure you have adequate safes available in your home for you to use. Now, obviously, he's a little too small right now. He's 2 months right now, so we know right now that he can't actually get to the firearm and like rack the slide, right? But still, it's in the back of our mind that we are going to teach firearm safety, and that's just a different video on itself. But make sure you have safes available so you could put your firearm there, especially when you get home from running errands and you know that you don't want your firearm out. Just lock it up. It's completely fine now. So do what's best for you and your household and your family. But what I just want to suggest is lock up your firearms and keep them out of reach, right? Especially when you're going through postpartum depression, you don't want them readily available to you. That's just what I'm going to say on that, just because it is a hard topic, because I'm not telling you to just give away your firearms to friends and family members while you're going through postpartum and then something were to happen and you needed your home defense tools and you don't have them, right? So that's kind of where I'm like 50-50, but you do need to realize that postpartum depression is real and it is okay for you not to feel okay. That's completely fine. Talk to your companion, talk to your friends about your depression so they know that maybe they need to check on you regular, that type of thing. That's kind of what I suggest. Okay, but one thing I just wanted to touch base on is do not buy these items until you contact your hospital. You could save so much money here. Like, here's just like a list of things that I spent money on that I didn't need to because of the hospital provided them for us. So make sure you reach out to your hospital before you have your baby and before you start buying your postpartum gear. But one thing that I do highly suggest is purchasing is the dry fire system from Laser Strike. Okay, no app, no batteries, no bullshit. All you do, seriously, is if you wear your baby, if your baby is napping, if you're watching TV, whatever you're doing, you can sit there and still dry fire your firearm, which is like a conflict of what I just said, where I'm like, lock up your firearms, but then I'm like, but you should dry fire while you're going through this stage. My mindset is clear, and I know that I can continue my training safely inside my own home. So I have been dry firing throughout my whole entire postpartum months. Granted, it's only been 2 months, but still, I have been dry firing almost daily. There are some days that I just can't get to it, and that's completely fine. But I do have my firearm ready with my laser in the chamber, no magazine, readily accessible. My husband also knows that this firearm is for dry fire purposes. But that is my dry fire firearm, and I just sit there and I shoot at my targets. Okay. This is going to help me continue my training. So when I get back into the groove of things where I actually have my firearm on me, when I go to the range, I'm going to be actually right on target instead of just trying to pick up all the pieces of where I left off. That's kind of why I'm still dry firing, is just because I want to make sure that I'm still able to protect myself and my family. So that is why I dry fire, and that is why you should be dry firing, is to keep up your practices. Dry firing is a great tool for you to use too, just because it's keeping you up on your fundamentals, and because you're using your firearm daily. Like, you're dry firing your firearm, you know how to use it, you know how to break it down, you know how to clean it, just all of the things. So dry fire, dry fire, dry fire. I literally will have Cannon just laying on the ground while he's, you know, playing with his toys, looking at his toys. I will just sit there and dry fire for about 5 minutes. For cooking, I can just sit there and dry fire as well. Even when he's in my arms, I dry fire practice one-handed. Just because I do now have a baby, so my first reaction, if anything were to happen, is probably grab my child, and then I need to realize I need to make sure that I know how to use my dominant hand and my less dominant hand. So that's why I dry fire both dominant and non-dominant hand while dry firing. So it's just kind of helping me keep prepared and have that muscle memory if or when I need it. So that's kind of my 2 cents on it. But really, so ice packs, don't buy these until you contact your hospital. 2 things that I highly, highly recommend you getting is, one, being like a nursing gown, not one where you give birth in, but one where you can relax in after. I use the hospital gown because you're gonna get some blood and yuck on it, and then they throw it away, and that's completely fine. I had a nursing gown because when we had visitors come, my plan was to breastfeed, and it worked out that way. So I had that gown where I could still cover up when we had visitors. And then 2, for sure, get this dry firing system, because honestly, when you start to get bored, it's just there, no app, no batteries, none of that crap. It's just ready for you to go. Definitely contact your hospital and your provider if you feel like you are depressed. And again, make sure you are locking up your firearms when they're not in use, just to keep everybody safe. Now, I want to know your 2 cents. Are you totally against locking up your firearms during postpartum, or are you totally an advocate of, yes, I'm going to lock up my firearms while I'm going through postpartum depression? Now, another thing is, did you dry fire while you had your newborn with you for the first couple months where you weren't at work? Yeah, I would like to know, do you dry fire with your baby? Have you thought about this practice? If not, it's totally fine. But now if you're like, oh, that's smart, I should be doing that, you're welcome. Let me know how it's going. Remember to train, practice, and then repeat. Train with all your gear, your new holster, your new firearm. Make sure your ammunition is working correctly. So make sure you go to the range, make sure you're testing out your new firearm to ensure that it's working correctly, and also to make sure that the ammunition that you have purchased is one that you actually can handle the recoil on, and to make sure that it functions through your firearm correctly. All right, you guys, that's just my 2 cents and talk on postpartum and some postpartum items and gear that you should definitely look into getting. Remember, I have a lot of discounts on my website, and remember that belly bands are still 50% off if you use code 2024. All right, you guys, I hope you all have a great day. Thank you so much for watching and supporting Badass Concealed. We do appreciate you. So until next time, I'll see you later, guys. Bye.